of rain, rain, go away, go and come another day falls on the deaf ear of Mother Nature in this place, which is considered the wettest in Africa and Cameroon and the second wettest place in the whole wide world. We are in Debuncha, a place where rain falls over 300 days in the 365 days we've got in a year. Come with me to discover the people who live under the rain, but most of all, the place which is fast experiencing the effects of climate change. I am Jimla Nene, and this is Discovery. On the foot of Mount Cameroon, some 27 kilometers from Limbe, is Debuncha, found in Idinao subdivision, Fako division, in the southwest region of Cameroon. It is bordered in the southwestern corner by the Atlantic Ocean, east by Bakingali, west Njongi village, and north by Mount Cameroon. This village was originally called Makali, meaning a lot of bridges, and its coast was one of the entry ports used by the Germans and the British, both colonists of Cameroon.
Debuncha is a German name, and far back in the 18th century, where this Debuncha was founded by the Germans. At that time, even the plantation who have there, the Debuncha palm estate was under the Germans. Until in the early 70s, that the fishermen came here, settled, and it became a fishing port where people from all angles of the world came to settle and do their fishing.
This lighthouse was constructed by the Germans in 1904 to guide ships that docked on these coastal waters, carrying colonists and exporting agricultural produce. Years gone, these are the remains, or better still, what is left of the harbor. Meantime, the huge rubber, banana and palm plantations found in the southwest region remains their legacy. The vast coastline with a rich fish fauna and the presence of the Cameroon Development Corporation CDC palm plantation have attracted a great number of people to this place. In fact, Debuncha could be considered a metropolitan village, hosting a population of 1,068 people from different parts of Cameroon and nearby countries like Benin, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria, Togo, and Ghana. However, the locals remain the Bomboko, who are part of the Bakweri clan, the ethnic majority of the Fako division. This colonial village, which today covers a total surface area of 4.5 kilometers square, is divided into two main sections: the CDC palm plantation and camp, which covers a huge majority of the land, 3,729 hectares to be precise, and the other part is the Debuncha beach. Ever since the plantations were created, followed by the palm oil processing plant in 1955, under the pre-independence British administration, Debuncha has experienced a constant influx of skilled and unskilled workers from other parts of the country. Most of the low-income earners of the CDC live in camps like this one. It is about 9 a.m. when I walk into one of the camps. It is kind of deserted. Most of the inhabitants leave as early as 6 a.m. for the plantations. I could not help but notice the dilapidated nature of the houses, a skeleton of what used to be in the 50s. These houses, often a one living room, were built for celibate workers coming mostly from the northwest part of Cameroon. But today, families have sprung up, and the high population, which numbers some 508 workers and their families, puts pressure on these structures. Nevertheless, they are happy. They live here for free and enjoy some amenities like free water and electricity. On the other side of the village is the Debuncha beach, a small community of some 560 people, made up of locals, retired workers of the CDC, and foreigners. These people practice agriculture and all-year activity, international trade, and small-scale business. The main economic activity here revolves around fishing, fishmongering, and processing. Debuncha is known for its distinct coastal reaches, dark fertile soil, but also for its unique climatic feature. The Germans constructed this rain gauge for weather forecasts and because they knew this village was prone to flooding. Today, Debuncha is known as the wettest place in Cameroon and among the 5 wettest places in the world, with about 10,299 millimeters of rainfall annually. This extremely wet climate automatically affects these people who have 3 main lifestyle patterns: fishing, agriculture, and business.
With the rains that we have has made the soil very, very fertile. This is the only land that you can find in Cameroon where you have fertile land that farmers could plant their crops 3 times a year, especially maize. They plant maize 3 times a year. There's no other place in Cameroon that you can see where they plant maize 3 times a year. So maize is planted continuously. Those who are not happy are businessmen and women because it disturbs them. They cannot do their business effectively. But with the farmers, they really need the rain because it waters their crops. It makes the crops to grow.
At the Debuncha beach, the people practice 2 types of fishing: traditional fishing and diving. It is a well-organized sector, helping them to put food on their tables. I spot a young robust man arriving from sea. I am told he is one of the best divers around here, one who brings home the biggest fish. I rush to be the first to see his catch for the day and maybe get some for myself. But to my greatest surprise, his canoe is empty. Meantime, I needed to know more about his job. Thaddeus Asondo has been diving for 15 years.
I want to shoot fish now. I was running over from here to here. I can pull it from here and put it here. Anything that's still on my way, immediately as I strike, I'll kill the thing. I'm not using oxygen. Just my normal air like that can be inside the water about 2 minutes. I have a little bit problem with fish inside the water because fish come and beat me inside the water like that. You know, do a job like that, you have to face challenges inside the water. You know, when you shoot fish inside the water, the fish is struggling to come out from that rock. Then when the fish do not come out from the rock, or the fish come out from the rock, it can turn back to face you. And that's how we have the challenges. So many divers have roaches on their body because the fish have eaten them. Or even shark also injure some of the people inside the water. Some die.
Debuncha Beach has for years gained the reputation as the only coastline in Cameroon that has an extremely rich fish fauna. But most of all, one that has the biggest sizes of fish, especially the barracuda species. Business people from Yaoundé, Douala and Limbe come here to buy fish, which is sold fresh or smoked. Smoking of fish is an activity practiced mostly by women. They use purely traditional smoking methods which demand a lot of wood. These women buy fish from the local fishermen and dry for at least 2 days. The smoked fish is also taken to Idenau, a nearby town, during market days, which is every Wednesday. One of the many side jobs involved in the fishing sector is the manufacturing of canoes and boats, a job done by mostly Nigerians. He tells me he is paid 300,000 francs CFA to make this boat, and the work can last for at most 3 weeks. These boats are used by fishermen on the high sea as well as business people who do international trade, transporting huge amounts of goods between Cameroon, Nigeria, and Equatorial Guinea. Despite a hectic economic environment, Debuncha has a lot of challenges, be it natural or man-made. The geographical position of Debuncha, found on the foot of an active volcanic mountain, and being a coastal village, a gateway to the outside world, this place presents several security and social concerns.
Some of the security difficulties we are facing here are those of transborder criminality. One of such criminalities is that of clandestine immigration. It's one of the difficulties we are facing here, and with the joint action of the forces and all security actors, we are doing everything, fighting every day to combat this particular phenomenon. A part of this phenomenon along our borders, we have activities of contraband activities which are prohibited by the law. So we are fighting them every day. They are one of the main security challenges we are facing, and we equally have threats such as maritime piracy, which we think for now, with the measures put in place by government, it has drastically reduced.
Generally, Debuncha is underdeveloped and lacks social amenities. Coming into the village this morning, I was agreeably surprised by some modern houses constructed at the entrance. But then my jaw dropped as I crossed the bridge leading into the interior of the village. Debuncha has very poor sanitation and housing infrastructures. This place looks like a junkyard. Animals live side by side humans. Houses built against each other with provisional material, mostly wood, within a tight space. In the case of a fire accident, this community will definitely have considerable amount of losses and casualties. That's right. This house is found within a water path hanging on stones. During the rainy season, when water from the mountain passes here on high speed, this house becomes a death trap. Funny enough, the owners still live there. It's not like they have much of a choice. Land is scarce in Debuncha Beach. Apart from poor housing infrastructure, health is a major concern. For now, they have just one poorly equipped health center owned by the CDC and a nursery and primary school. The children have to trek long distances to neighboring Bakingali or Idinau if they have to attend secondary schools. Consequently, many young people drop out of school after primary education. This situation has led to high levels of youth delinquency and early pregnancy. In this village, 3 out of every 5 girls are either pregnant or have young children. The village elders tell me the overcrowded nature of Debuncha Beach, the presence of cash combined with the undereducation of the young people, favors promiscuity. But the long and cold rainy season is also a contributing factor. A growing population in the midst of increasing challenges.
There is no potable drinking water in Debuncha. They have to struggle go to Njonji, where I just recently dug a borehole. That is where all of them feed, both the village here and the CDC camps. But the only one that they used to manage here is there's a small spring. When the tides are low, they carry good water, potable water. But when the tides are high, the water becomes salty. So they have a really problem.
These fishing, Chinese fishing trawlers, they have a limit of 3 miles, but they can't ride down, especially at night. They even carry some people's nets and take them away. You know, a local fisherman will go and take loan somewhere. Then you buy a net, you go and put it, you can't carry it. Then it has also caused scarcity of fish around our area.
Debuncha is one village that is experiencing firsthand the effects of climate change and uncontrolled fishing. The villagers have a valid complaint, but what most of them are yet to understand is that climate change is also a major factor for fish scarcity. Because of rising sea surface temperatures, as well as human activities, which often pollutes the coast, over 1,600 species of fish are running away from the coast, moving further into the sea. These days, fishermen and divers have to wander further into the sea at their own risk.
We have some other points at sea where our fishermen, mostly the divers, they go for fishing. We have been restricted to go there by the bees. When they go there, they chase them. We have had so many of them who have gone to prison, who have spent a lot of money to rescue themselves, so we don't more go there. So the catch that we had at first, we are no more having them again.
I was surprised that for the past 2 days we were there, it didn't rain, a phenomenon becoming more and more persistent. The dry seasons are longer and the floods more destructive. It's like nature's clock is going wacko. The people who have been affected the most are the fishermen who used to live along this beach. A few months back, they paid a huge price.
If you look behind us where we visited this morning, there are so many houses, more than 50 houses that have been swept out by the erosion, which makes made some lives very difficult. It wasn't easy for those lives, the population who lost their properties. Some of them who had means have built new buildings in the new layout, but those who do not have the means, they are still there struggling to rent, and which is not the best.
This tap and electric poles used to be on land, but when the sea rises, it is found in the waters. The sea is rising with an unprecedented speed. moving and absorbing human habitat. Following the last floods, powered electric cables are still hanging here loosely. And just before I could imagine how dangerous this could be for the people around here, especially the children, I met this victim. This man suffered serious burns after coming in contact with a powered cable. I wondered why he still lives here, the same place and cables that almost took his life. But it would seem land space is limited. He will have to stay here and pray the sea stops rising. These people are fishermen. This is their home. Plus what keeps them here is becoming scarce each passing day. Losing this very important activity might be devastating, not only for these people who depend on it for their livelihood, but also for the entire nation, because these fish are an essential part of the ecosystems which support commercial and recreational fisheries and tourism. More so, the increasing slow fishing sector plus the lack of developmental infrastructures are pushing several young people to migrate to cities. What then will become of Debuncha without its young, strong and vibrant youthful population?
Our primary school, they have two places, junior and senior. We want them to be one. If the government can give us loans so that we construct a good primary school, we'll be grateful. Then our health center here is CDC that is helping us. So they've asked others we should join together. So if the government can empower them with more medical materials, they will be grateful. Then we also need loans. As they are giving loans to other people, they can give to our fishermen, our traders, our farmers. We rear animals here, we do fishing.
Talking about civil protection, we know a locality along a coastline like this one. There are certain natural occurrences, natural disasters, such as a number of persons under distress in the sea. In most cases, our local subcommittee in charge of civil protection is there to sensitize the population, to sensitize maritime users to respect the security and safety measures put in place, especially those who are transported by boat. I think we always make sure we follow up so that they should use their life jackets. But in case of distress, we move straight forward for rescue operations in the sea, thanks to the joint action of various components of forces. We are situated at the foot of an active volcanic mountain, and the history of this mountain is well known by all of us, so that in case of any natural occurrence or disaster, we can quickly sensitize the population and, if necessary, evacuate from where they are to ensure the safety of the population. In the same light, as I made mention of social security threats, we are living in an area made up of different components of the population, both nationals and foreigners. Our actions are tilted towards reinforcing social solidarity and social harmony, so that everybody living here should live in perfect peace.
Meantime, the people of Debuncha, more specifically those of Debuncha Beach, love their village and lifestyle. Despite the challenges, they are aware that the village is endowed with diverse resources and opportunities, to include the rich volcanic fertile soil, forest resources, fishing grounds, and the beauty of nature. As we continue our discovery of Debuncha, we will not only enjoy their traditional dish, dance along with the people, but we will definitely go on a trip to discover one of the hidden treasures of Cameroon. But that will be for another day.